Hello and welcome back to Noggin Comics. We're back in the studio, which is just comic boxes and books. But we like filming in here because of this awesome bookcase. But this week we want to talk about the top books from this week, something that we haven't done in a while. As you can tell, it's just me. No Nora today. But she did tell me, though, if I was going to do this, I had to talk about two books for her. And book number one that she wanted me to talk about as one of the best books of the week. She agrees what number one and number two are, so wait for that. But Nora's honorable mentions is Batman the Imposter by Madison Tomlin, I think. Madison Tomlin and Andrade Sarantino. And Sarantino's artwork is awesome in this. I really enjoyed the storyline. It didn't make my top picks of the week, but it made Nora's tops. I do like what they're doing as Black Label, I'm not going to lie, but sometimes I just want something that's not Batman. I think that's the reason why it didn't make the list this week. I'm hoping to see where this goes, though. It has very interesting premise. I do like seeing the ventriloquist, a character that we don't see all that often in Batman books. It's one of my favorite characters in the Batman anime series, so it's kind of like, give me more of that, please. But yeah, I would recommend it, though. It's a good book. I just wish that Black Label would do something else outside of Batman. Now, the second book that Nora wanted me to talk about is May's book number 3. This is a phenomenal read. The only reason it didn't make my top 5 is due to a few surprises. There was a couple books in my top 5 that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did. But Jeff Lemire kills it no matter what he writes. I always feel like he is just one of the best writers around. And the art in this is typical Lemire. I mean, you know what to expect when you're reading the Lemire book. But it kind of feels like when you read anything by Lemire, you're going to go on a trip. And this book definitely makes you go on a trip because you feel all the emotions that this dad is going through. And yeah, this is issue 3, and 1 and 2 have both made Nora and I almost emotional reading it. So can't wait for this to be collected in a trade as well, because I feel like it's going to read so much better. But like I said, I didn't make my top 5 picks. Because I wanted to talk about a book that never makes my top picks. Never. I mean, I've been reading this book now for a couple months, maybe a year, because I know how much Nora loves it. And it's Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman 781. And it's by Becky Calhoun and... Give me 1 second because you can't find it again. Becky Calhoun and Michael Conrad with art by Mokio Takawa. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Nora's better with names than I am. But now, see, usually when it gets to Wonder Woman, I know the past couple issues I haven't enjoyed all that much. And I won't say I despised the Young Diana story as much as I just wasn't the main target audience for that, so it didn't resonate with me. So why I never really enjoyed reading Wonder Woman. But see, this book, this story arc, is really enjoyable. And the action is great, I feel like. I mean, Dead Man has a new body in it. And, you know, you get to deal with Dr. Psycho, a character that I wasn't really familiar with until the Harley Quinn animated series. And seeing him in a comic book gets me excited because I was like, what are they going to do with this crazy-ass guy? And sure enough, his psychotic personality is shown in this. I'm looking forward to 782, just to see where they're going to take this story. And if they can keep me invested into Wonder Woman, that would be something that I have never had done before. So book 4 of the week for me is Regarding the Matter of Oswalds Body. It's by Christopher Cantwell, with art by Luca Kazagito. Like I said, once again, I am mispronouncing names. But this book has me intrigued. And by saying that is because it's almost like going off of what Department of the Truth is going. You got Oswald, Harvey Oswald, as the leader in Department of the Truth, but in this, you're trying to find his body, and you really don't know if that's the truth or not, because it's introduction of all these characters, and all these characters are different, which makes this so good. It's going to time. I mean, it starts off in 1981. It looks like, yeah, it starts off with 1981, and you're going back to 1960, 63, to discover why these characters are all going to be together at the end. And I can't wait for the next issue. I seriously think that this could potentially be as good as Department of Truth, and I'm saying that because this is going to focus on one story arc, where Department of Truth can sometimes go off in different places. I know it's really high projections, or an assumption, I should say, but I have really high hopes for that book, and I hope they knock it out of the park. Now, I knew I was going to like that book. Like I said, Wonder Woman was a surprise, but this may be the biggest surprise of the week. My date was Monsters, and it's by Paul Tobin and art by Andy McDonald, and I was expecting a horror book, and it's a straight up comedy, and I think that's the reason why I enjoyed it so much. Is the dialogue, the art, everything went extremely well into this book, and both Nora and I did not expect the story arc. We both enjoyed this book, and I think it's one of the reasons why I like it is due to, what's his name now? Croak. His name's Croak. You can see him right there. It's on the main page too. It is the mother's, or the main character's, monster that she has, and Croak has been taking care of the daughter, and the daughter wants a relationship between the two, which, it's a monster. And the story arc is that she has to find love before all these monsters consume her and her daughter. And that premise alone seems like it could be a good horror story, but instead, Paul Tobin's like, we're going to make a comedy, almost a romantic slapstick comedy out of this. And like the other books I have said, I'm looking forward to the continuation of this. Most of these books but Wonder Woman are number ones, and I think that's showing you how good comics are right now, because introducing these new stories, I know people complain, why we're getting number ones, but I love seeing new writers and new teams on books that can tell a story with these characters already established. And going off that, my number 2 pick of the week, and Nora's number 2 pick of the week, is Robin and Batman number 1 by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Everything I said about May's book for Jeff Lemire can go to this too. The guy knows how to write characters. But Dustin Nguyen's artwork is the reason to pick this up. It's not your typical Robin story. This is like almost at the beginning of Robin's career. He hasn't even become Robin yet. And is Bruce basically like telling him, you shouldn't be Robin. We need to get you focused on school. And Dick's like not having it. So he creates the costume, but then you get to see the beautiful artwork that Dustin Nguyen does with Killer Croc. And I feel like this is going to get me to read Little Gotham. I have been pulling off reading Little Gotham for some time now, but this is something that's getting me to go to read that book, and I don't know, this could be one of the best Batman books out there in the next couple issues. But then again, it's Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I haven't read Ascender or Descender yet, and Nora keeps telling me to read those books, so I think Little Gotham and those two I might have to jump onto soon because of that. But book of the week, and we had to get Scotty Youngcoat for this, but book of the week from us is What's the Furthest Place from Here, number 1 by Tyler Boss and Matthew Rosenberg. And this is kind of like My Date with Monsters, and yeah, My Date with Monsters. Like, we didn't know the whole story going in. Like, we just saw the cover and we heard people talking about it. Like, we have to jump onto this book, and I'm so glad we did, because storytelling, the world building, everything about this book is prepping you for some crazy shit to happen. I'm trying to think of a good book to compare it to, but it's broken up into chapters. Was very punkish art, which I just absolutely love. Yeah, it's what if there was no adults, and just kids around in the post-apocalyptic dystopian type reality. It's kind of hard to explain, but the way it ends, you're like, I need that second issue right now, and I think that's the reason why it's my top pick of the week, is due to the dialogue, the art, and how it ends, how it makes you want to pick up issue 2. But thank you for joining us. I know it's just me today, but hopefully Nora will be around more often. She's working at a comic shop, so you really can't get upset about that, right? If I'm the solo host right now. But let me know if you read any of these books and what was your top pick of the week. Should we include a Venom 1? I know that was something that I sat down and debated while putting this list together. Was Al Ewing, Ram V did a Venom book. Why is it not on my top picks of the week? But thanks for watching, and see you at the comic shop.